Today is March 11th, 2023. This is Tanya. I'm out here at Zion Wall Church Cemetery, where we are continuing to do this restoration and preservation of this sacred space. And I just wanted to film a short video so that some of the descendants, as well as the donors, can see where their donations have gone. When we first started, all of this was full of trees. The cemetery crew and the guys using chainsaws and machetes literally had to cut away for us to even get in here. And now we're at the halfway point where practically half of the cemetery is now treeless. So what I'll do now is just show you all some of the headstones and markers that are out here. This is the headstone for Annabelle Crumpler. Beside her is the headstone for Benita Danette Rich, which has toppled over and will need to be reset. Behind those is the marker for John Daniel Rich, and the markers that are temporary markers or markers that are no longer legible, we have flagged with pink survey flags so that we'll know it's a grave of an ancestor and someone from the Tomahawk community. Beside John Daniel Rich is the grave for Eddie Vernon Rich Jr., which is also toppled over. And behind those is the headstone for John Thomas Crumpler, who was a private in the U.S. Army. His headstone is leaning. The footstone is still back there. And there's a deep indentation right there behind his grave. There was a tree there, but there were trees all back here, but the volunteers have cut those away. Beside John Thomas Crumpler is the grave for James A. Crumpler. And there's also a deep indentation. I'm not sure if you all can see that right there as well. Beside James A. Crumpler is a grave that had a temporary marker that has broken, but we have flagged it with a pink survey flag. Beside that one is also a grave, and if you look closely, the temporary marker is halfway buried in the ground. We have not disturbed any of those kinds that we find, because our purpose initially was just to, again, cut our way in here, get these trees out, get the trash out. This place was full of trash and other debris, and that was really phase one. Here's also another temporary marker. Not sure who was buried there. Beside that one is also a temporary marker. And beside that one is another marker. And behind those, and beside this big tree, is a deep indentation and a temporary marker for someone who is buried there. There's also a deep indentation here. And beside that one is another marker. And beside that one is the marker for my grandfather, Jake Murphy, who was killed in 1945, which I have flagged with a pink survey tape. And behind him is the marker for my cousin, Cleophas Robinson, who we call Toot. That's his final resting place. And in front of Toots is also a grave, but as you can see, there's no identifying information on it. So we're not sure whose grave it is at this point. There's also another marker here that was so old and rusted it's broken in half, but we flagged it with a pink survey flag. And then to the left of that one is another grave which I have flagged. And beside that one is the grave of my great-grandfather, Horace Devon, who was born enslaved but died free in 1925. My brother Horace Devon was named after our great-grandfather. And if you look closely on his headstone, you can see the symbol for the Masons. Behind Granddaddy Horace, you see his footstone there. Okay. Behind my grandfather Horace's grave is the grave for Thomas Avery Crumpler. And you can also see behind him, there's another grave that you can't read the name, but we flagged it with the pink survey flag because it is someone from our community here in Tomahawk. Okay. To the front of those graves is the grave of my uncle, my granddaddy Horace's son, William Thomas Devon. That's his grave right there. He's beside Granddaddy Horace, his father. And beside William Thomas is the grave, get on this side, of his brother, John Devon. And his headstone is broken in half. But if you look closely on it, you can see the symbol for the Masons on his headstone as well. Behind those is the grave for my uncle Levy. I'm trying not to put shadow on it so you all can see. My uncle Levy McKnight, which we've also flagged with the pink survey tape. But that is his marker that is still there, and thankfully his name is still legible. Behind Uncle Levy is the grave for Reverend Simons, and it says he died in 1917. And you can see his footstone in the back. Beside Reverend Simons is the grave for last name Horsett. It looks like E. Horsett. And it's obviously has fallen over, and it's in the ground. But that is his grave. Okay, and as you can see, the team still has a lot of trees to cut, but they're getting it done slowly but surely. Thank you to the volunteers, the guys who've been cutting these trees away. It's been a slow process, but they have done an excellent job. There's a grave right here. And as you can see, it's for Lizzie Crumpler. And it says she was born in 1848 and died, it looks like it says 1913. Her headstone is leaning over. However, if you look closely at the top, it appears to me to be the symbol for the Eastern Star on her headstone. And in front of her and behind this giant tree is the grave for Kelly Miles Crumpler, born 1898, died 1969. And his temporary marker is behind it as well. And beside him, as well as behind this tree that the cemetery crew will have to also cut down, is the grave for Laura Pickford, and she has a temporary marker there. To the left of her is the grave for John Ray Crumpler, and his temporary marker is back there. And behind that one and behind this tree is the grave for Percy Herring. That's his grave, and temporary marker is still there. And behind Percy Herring and in between these trees and sticky briars, there's also a grave, but as you can see, there's no name on it any longer. And these trees will have to be cut down as well. Beside that one is the grave for Emmanuel Herring. And you can also see the temporary marker is still there. And beside Emmanuel Herring, and in the midst of all of these trees, is the grave for Victory Herring, born 1884, died 1969, and her temporary marker is still there. And as you can see, there are a lot of trees back here, but if you all can see the pink survey flags that we were able to locate and flag. I'm trying to see if I can get in here so you can see if there are any identifying information on them. Here's one. There's that one. And then there are two more over here that we were able to find. It still may be more. And then this one here, up under this debris, almost practically covered under leaves, is the grave for my Aunt Callie Wright. So, again, we're doing what we can with the restoration and cemetery cleanup of Zion Wall Church Cemetery. A big shout out and thank you to the donors for your support. The donations that have come in have allowed us to get this far, because as you can see, what you're seeing now is a mess, but if you can imagine, this entire place looked like this. So thank you all for your support. Thank you for your prayers. Please share this video with as many friends and family as you can, because the descendants of those buried out here at Zion Wall Church and the folks from Tomahawk and the Tomahawk community need to be aware that we are trying to restore the final resting place of all of our ancestors. So thank you all again, and I'll come back with another update at another time.